Right, let's do the rogue topic because we only briefly touched on it. Right, I've noticed people are claiming, if you check out like the voice comms and stuff, like I looked at it a little bit, it does seem like Malrang has better English than you'd expect. He doesn't look like a pure Korean just saying like almost nothing. Go bit, grow up. Like he can actually speak like sentences and stuff, right? What have you actually thought of Rogue so far, Dan? Because the problem I have is this. I still think the players in the team, I mean, they can't be terrible. Like, if you're terrible with this lineup, you really, really fucked up your GM job because there's just too many good individual players here. But, like, I still don't see where their gear is that they can go to the top. Like, I know they won a lot of games, but, like I'm not buying it, basically. Where are you at on Rogue at the moment?
I think
have they overperformed thus far?
I think they've overperformed. I think that the big thing about Malrang specifically is I think his personality, at least what he shows, he seems like he's more willing to banter and engage with people and social media and joke around and like not be embarrassed that he might not have perfect English or something. And he's just able to be himself with it, which I think is like a little bit more rare. I remember like Huni was kind of like that when he first came to Europe. And I feel like that's actually a really important quality, is somebody who's more outgoing so that he can fit into the team. It seems like everyone on the team, just based off the voice comms that I've heard as well, they seem like they like hyping him up, you know, like they want him to feel more comfortable. So like if he makes a nice play, they're like, holy shit, Malrang, like you're so good, man. Like, so I like the environment that they have. I think that the key for them is going to be meta. I think that in the right meta, this team could win LEC. I think in the right meta, because they have the guy that can play the tank tops. And if control mages are the shit again, that's Larsen's bread and butter. I know this guy fucking hates it. You can tell by his LEC interviews. He's like, yeah, I'm just the mage guy, man. I can only play. You can see him just fucking see. He's like, yeah, I'm making a joke. It's like, clearly I'm not that, bro. I can play a Kali. Just I can't play a Kali with this team. Like, you can tell that shit piss him off. Whatever, man. Like, I still watch him play. I think he's much better at mages than he is at other things. So I think given the right meta, I think that they have the AD carry that can play like a hyper carry. I think Trimby is solid. And one of the things that I like about Trimby that I think would count a little bit against somebody like Kaiser, for example, is I think Trimby is much more proficient on like the enchanters / the champions that are like half engaged, or the champions that you have to like whittle them down on. So like I would take like a Trimby Thresh or a Trimby Lulu or something like that. So I feel like they have the pieces where if there's like aggressive early game junglers like Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, Jarvan, like there is right now, control mages mid lane, it's just like the stable top laners, I feel like this team has the pieces to win. But I think that if the meta drastically changes, like Riot likes to do normally, I feel like the team will just be a lot worse. So I don't necessarily think that they're going to be much different than they are now. I think that it really just depends on how the game is. Yes, they're a little bit one-dimensional in that sense. They're not going to be the versatile team that swaps up every meta role, what lane they play through. Obviously, that goes out saying. No, I'm with you. Like because, like I say, I think what people overlook with Rogue is like the raw player level is still very impressive. Especially now, you know, Malrang isn't like a complete liability. Like the actual man-for-man level of the players, skill-wise, they have a pretty skilled team. I think people underestimate that having 4 or 5 skilled players will win you fucking games unless you really fuck up. Like you almost have to be an anti-coach to lose games when you got just basically among the best players in the league. My problem is this, and I'll agree with you on that angle. I don't know why Larsen's still running from this like mage player comparison or the Froggen comparison, as it were. Look, homie, if you don't want to be compared to Froggen, I wouldn't go and have the best game of your split on fucking Victor, mate. It's probably not really the route to go with that one, is it? You know, like at the end of the day, like what do you do? So, because I don't get it myself, mate. Like at the end of the day, if you just look at the mentality of Larsen, and I've talked to him a little bit privately as well as on shows, he even has the mentality of that type of player, dude. What I don't get is this: when people like that run from it, right? It's because it's not cool to be the mage player, right? It's not the sexy. You're not going to have the big moment, right? Like in a team fight, spoiler, if you get a highlight, you probably needed your team to peel for you. Like you had to judge the distance perfectly, hold your fucking Orianna up. Like it's not sexy. It isn't the same as being like when Caps was playing fucking Silas against Gen G and he was just shitting on them all. You know, exactly. You're never going to get that. But here's the thing, mate. If you do an amazing job at that mage player, and we're not talking you're the mage player who's forced to play it like Golden Glue. You choose to, because it's your best champions. You can be a champion and you can be in the best teams in Europe as well, by the way. Because spoiler, this actually happened, if people don't know, in Counter-Strike. I'll give a very brief tangent. In the same era that we had these players who were like the true prodigies, they were like the fakers, the rookies of the world. People like Simple and Ziwu and Nico. These are the
guys where, like, from day one, you can see the talent's unreal. And when they finally unlock it, no one can do what they do. They're like the capses of the world, the rookies, the fakers, right? We had a player called Device. And my joke is, if they're aliens, he's the best human. He's just a really good player who played like a nice conservative style, and he just played it to a 9 out of 10 level, Tom. And the others, they're 10 out of 10 because they've got the superhuman. Like, they're like, you know, the Michael Jordan vertical, and they've got the strength of fucking, I don't know, Brock Lesnar. Like, they're the ones who are like the freaks. If you can just be an amazing, really good mid laner who just plays all the mage champions, perfects your game, and your team knows what to do around you, dude, that's a recipe for success. We've seen it in League of Legends. Like, you might not be the best player, but your team can be really good, assuming you've got all the good pieces and you're doing this team. So I don't know why he gets, like, to me, I get into like an ego thing, but like, just fucking go with it already, mate. You're clearly not going to be, you're not going to be a fucking Zed player in a year from now, are you? Just get over it and be a really good mage player.
Yeah, I mean, I can completely vibe with how Larson is, because it does make you salty, right? Like, I kind of had the same thing in season 5 when I was playing like Nunu and Gragas, and I played against Rush all the time. And even though we won most of those matches, it was just always like, nah, I mean, Rush is just the MVP. Like, all right, like you won, you might have played better that game, but you're playing fucking Gragas. Like, who the fuck? Like this is old Gragas, didn't take as much skill, tank Gragas, like whatever. Oh, you're playing Nunu. Like, who the fuck can't play Nunu? Like, most people just won't stoop to the fucking Nunu level. So I completely understand that mentality, because I've had that myself too. But Larson's just so good on mages. Like, it's a Corki meta. Like, as long as he's not, you know, pulling out the season 9 package into the fountain and losing his whole team this series, Corki is just a good champion right now. Just play it. People are fine winning championships like Rise. Like, if I just look at the World Championship, all these different champions were played in the finals. You had Rise played, Malzahar played, TF played, which he was also really good on, which kind of is like the bridge between being a mage and actually doing something. You know, like, kind of lanes like a mage, but then you could play the map like something else. Orianna, Syndra, like, these are all picks that he could just be the best player in Europe on. So I really hope that he continues playing like that, because mages are always good. We never end up in a situation where it's like, you cannot pick mages at all. There's no mages that are good. Like, Azir is due to come back at some point. You know, Riot is going to randomly buff Azir, and that's going to come back in pro play. We see the same thing. Orianna is already starting to sneak its way back in. That's a champion that will just end up being good at some point again. And, you know, like, he can maybe play the odd pick that he's pretty good at, like Lucian. Like, I'm okay with him playing Lucian and not being pure mages, but I just want him to fucking win. Like, I want Larson to win more than anything. Like, I just wish he wanted to win more than he wanted to just be like a fucking beast mid laner that's the caps of Europe, like, has that mentality. I mean, I'm sure he does, but he's not seeing it as a pure trade-off. But it's like, I just think that, like, come on, man, just be you. Like,
and also, just be you. I'll just say this. I know you play a Carly, but motherfucker, have you never heard of the exception that proves the rule? That's the one. After that, you can forget about it. Like, a Carly ain't enough. That's like when Leader did the opposite, and he was going like, but I technically do play as here. Like, yeah, 4 times. You obviously wouldn't pick Orianna, you can't. Like, why are you trying to gaslight me now that you're like some master of all trades? Like, again, if you're just a monster at one style, by the way, perfect that style. Like, there's very few players ever are going to be good at all styles, are they? So, like, I agree in this scenario. Because the thing with me is this. If Rogue has it streamlined, and you basically set it up like that, if we're in a world where the 3 players are the ones you picked out, obviously, it's Odoamne, because it's his whole career is losing gracefully as a fucking weak side player. If he's playing something like a tank and a bruiser top lane, we know he can do that. Check. Larson on some sort of a mage mid lane. By the way, since mages are always viable, you can have winning matchups with that, of course. Check. And then the last one is, as you say, Trimby's sort of found his niche now. So if Trimby can get his champions, mate, if all 3 of those, if we get 3 checks, suddenly this team, they'll be in the mix to be a potential finalist. They can maybe go and beat some of the other more rock. Maybe they can beat a Vitality, a Mad Lions, and the play is doable. I agree with you, though. If it's a scenario where we have to do the joke scenario that no one can, of like, you have to be versatile and adapt to all lanes and champions and drafts, which almost no one can. Spoiler, that just means you have to have an amazing roster where you have players who like fuck around on the side and can be a carry champion player when it was a meta before that was the tag side. So they're not going to do that, I agree. But I will say, when you look at how rocky some of the other teams that are going to be playoff teams are, I think Rogue, look, they're not going to win the LEC, but they're going to like, I think they're going to be like the sleeper that just somehow finishes like 3rd, and people are going to be like, what the how did they? But the difference is one of these other teams is going to fail. I actually see this team, I think they'll be fairly consistent. That would be my pick.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know why teams are so against having an identity these days. It's
weird,
like,
isn't it?
because so I obviously watch a lot of LPL, and the thing that I really like about LPL, I mean, this year everyone's kind of still finding their footing.
Yeah,
but the thing I liked about watching LPL, and I think that's really interesting, is that all teams have their own shit. Like the only team that was like more on the versatile side was EDG, but even EDG up until like the end of summer was playing Flandre on weak side every fucking game. Like it didn't matter what he was playing. Like he was the guy that was just picking Renekton, Gragas, all that stuff in spring. And you got to see like all the matchups. Like you knew that DoinB was not going to play certain champions. You know for a fact DoinB is not going to play Syndra. He's not going to play Zoe. 2 core champions, but teams would embrace being unique. We saw RNG with Cryan playing the roaming stuff. He would do anything before he played something that wasn't roaming. When Nocturne was viable, he was playing that. When TF, Galio, and Ryze were banned in Worlds, he started playing Annie. Everyone fucking memed him for it, but teams were way more willing to buy into their own system and have that identity. I feel like not that many teams do that in the West. I feel like all teams feel like we need to play everything kind of well. But I just don't know if that's what's going to get you to be one of the best teams in the entire world.
Oh, I'm with you. If people don't know, I think last split, the summer playoffs of LPL last year might even be the best example ever. You go through the top 6 teams and they are so distinct, it is ridiculous. They are so different as squads. I mean, the joke is, the only reason EDG fits what you said, where they could change up styles, they really did just have really good players at every position. That was, especially once JJ got his worlds buff, like then they could adapt. Like everyone else, like the joke was, I had all these people in the West on talk shows telling me like how you have to play the meta, and then I would go watch RNG games and go, what the fuck? Like, dude, did these guys not get the number? They're winning games doing this as well. Like, they're one of the best teams in the whole league. So, yeah, I think people, and Europe especially historically, you would think is the region that should embrace identity, right? The idea of like, we're totally unique. Think about how different like Moscow 5 is from any other team. In fact, every great European team typically has like its own unique style, blah, 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 etc. The ones that don't, by the way, tend to be the ones that didn't do much. Like, I'll give you an example. The G2 team that won the like 3 championships in a row with Mithy and Sven. Their problem was they were just a slightly worse version of a Korean team, unfortunately. So they were really good in the West, but they weren't going to do what the later G2s did, etc. So yeah, I think having a distinct personalities that it's just the reason it's the way to go is you perfect one style at the highest level, and then look, if you had more, listen, chance to be a fine thing. Of course, you'd expand out and bring other things, but just figuring out 1 or 2 ways to win the game consistently is really fucking hard. That takes months. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
So hard to do. Like, you're not going to be able to fucking get good at all these different comps. We got to learn how to we know how to play on 2 lanes, 3 lanes. We know how to play with like a carry jungler. Like no one can do that. There's the game changes too much. Things become strong, and then there becomes like pieces that you end up needing to incorporate into your team. But then it's about like keeping the stability elsewhere that really makes your team excel. So, I mean, it's one of the things that I like. Maybe it's like a fucking old school mentality, and maybe it's just the fact that I really like LPL, right? So I watch a lot of LPL, and this is what I see. But I just think that is something that could be an advantage for Rogue, because they do have players that have identities. It's just that their identities like are not cool for the most part. No one wants to be like known as the enchanter player. It's like, yeah, he just has to play enchanters. He can't engage. Like he's an enchanter. Oh, that guy. Oh, he's just the mage guy. Oh, he's the weak side top player. Like they have the most boring niches in history, but it's like those are actually really good altogether if you line them all up. So. Yeah,
I'd also say as well, in all games I've followed, when you have the meta of actually how team styles stack up and what works against each other, whenever everyone else goes one route, mate, like they're all going one style, if you play the natural counter to that style, listen, here's when it's the best, right? If you're the best team, you probably want to play the best style overall, right? But if you're not the best team, if you can master the counter, you immediately become contender status, because you can potentially beat the best team as a result. Like if everyone else goes like some, I don't know, fucking hyper aggressive like dive comp mode, and you're playing this super stable win the late, like dude, you're going to win a lot of games in those scenarios. Like you're going to have games where they're just not going to get their players off early and just win. Basically the joke is Rogue shouldn't be the team that need to be told this. Go back a few years, they used to just win by doing nothing, didn't they? They just waited, and if you didn't make the players early, they just won the game at the end by scaling. Like you could be that team if you want. That's a viable way to play the game. I'm not going full S when I say that. You don't have to do every game, of course, just as a general trend.
And like you can make that adaptation that's going to put you in the advantage position versus another really good team when the time comes for it, but it just shouldn't be a whole stylistic thing.
Yes.
Like an example of this would be when FPX played EDG in the finals. one of the big advantages, one of the main reasons that EEG won that series was because they were able to take the top laner of Flandre, and instead of just playing weak side every game and just letting Nuguri do whatever he wants, they found something that counterpicked, and it was a carry top laner that counterpicked Nuguri's Jace. So Nuguri's mentality was like, oh, this guy just plays a bunch of like weak side champions. I'm gonna play Jace, we're gonna ban Malphite or whatever, and I'm just going to just run over this guy in lane because I have lane bully. And then when Flandre answered it and said, hey, I'm going to play Lucian top, I'm going to answer your Jace with a Lucian top, and I'm actually going to win that lane, it completely blew up the game, and FPX just didn't know how to react. By the time they figured it out, it was too late in the series. They were down 2 games, made a couple mistakes in game 4, boom, they lose the championship. So I don't know. I definitely, and it's not just in League. I mean, I think about basketball. Like, I've been watching a lot of basketball, and my favorite team is the Miami Heat. I don't know if you've watched the Miami Heat recently, but it is one of the most like defined styles that you'll see. Everyone always talks about Heat culture. And it's not a sexy style either, but I think it's actually an effective one. And I think it's why you see the Heat do well consistently over such a long period of time, is that they have this defensive gameplay. Like, they have this idea of, yeah, we play our defense by switching on every single pick and roll. And a lot of teams don't know how to deal with that. They're like, oh shit, we got like a 6'9" center and Bam Adebayo, and he's guarding the point guard. What the fuck? Most people can't do that switch. A lot of times you have like a Rudy Gobert or a Joel Embiid that doesn't have the ability to play perimeter defense like somebody like Bam. So I feel like there's examples that you can find in other games where that actually is a viable strategy.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.